There are just so many food centers in Singapore, and one of the ways, as we head up here, that people in Singapore decide whether the food is good is by looking at the queue. If there is a long queue, then the food must be good, right? Because why would people spend time in the queue if the food isn't good, right? I don't know. So how do we find out? Well, lucky for you, we have a new video, a new series on my channel called Worth the Queue, where I will go in the queue, I will line up for you, and I will eat the food, and I will find out whether the food is worth the queue. So, if you want to know whether this queue, or this queue, or this queue, or even that queue is worth the queue, worth your time to queue, there's only one way. That is to watch this video. And luckily for you, one of my subscribers actually suggested this idea for me, and I thought, what a good idea. So thank her, and together we will find out whether this place is worth the queue. And so we'll start here at the escalator where we just came out, and just around this corner here at the escalator is our first queue, and it's at this store called 1950s Coffee. And here they sell traditional Singaporean coffee and toast. And during lunchtime, surprisingly, there's a queue. Yes, people queue up for the coffee. And this place is also a very popular place for coffee during the lunchtime peak hours. They are busy and people will queue up. The queue, even though it's long, it clears fast, so you don't have to worry. If you queue up, very soon you'll get your coffee, and it's cheap and affordable and good Singaporean coffee. Just right next to the escalator too is another store that also sells food that has a queue sometimes, especially during lunchtime and the weekends. And it's this shop here that sells fried kway teow, and this place is called Food Street Fried Kway Teow, and they sell the normal char kway teow and the seafood char kway teow, which is the two versions of char kway teow they sell here. Here they don't always have a queue, but when there is a queue, the queue does add up, because what happens is when they cook their fried kway teow, what they do is they cook it in a big batch, and then they will dole out the batch in plates to the customers. So depending on your luck, if you are just so happen to be at the time where they make a big batch and you can get your food fast, then you won't have to queue long, or you may have to wait a while for this fried kway teow. Here, the fried kway teow, they do fry the kway teow nicely. They do cook a good plate of fried kway teow, but the fried kway teow here is more savory, not much sweetness to it. So if you are looking for the normal Singaporean sweet fried kway teow, this will not be what you're looking for. But if you don't mind a well fried plate of fried noodles, here they do it quite well, and you will not be disappointed in eating a fried kway teow. Just that it may not be worth the queue to wait if the queue is too long. And as we continue our journey walking forward, we are continue walking along the red zone, or the zone where there is the red tables and the walls are actually painted red. So around here, there's also another store that surprisingly has a queue, especially during lunchtime. And it's this store here, which is right behind this wall here. It's called 169 Hainanese Chicken Rice. And somehow, people like to queue up for their Hainanese chicken rice. And you can see that at the display, all the different types of Hainanese chicken rice that they sell. And you can order set, or you can just order the Hainanese chicken. So what I did here was I actually ordered and got on the queue to try out the food for you guys. So here what I ordered a set. Okay, the chicken is done okay, just that there's not much skin on the chicken, and the vegetables is just very basically blanch in hot water and put on the plate. Then they just put in some seasoning. So overall, the queue is long. So if there are people in the queue that actually order a big order, then you may have to wait longer. But most of the time, the queue should clear quite fast, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes if the queue is long and there's no big orders. But the food wise, for me, I felt that the chicken here not worth the queue. If there's a long queue, not worth the queue, I would rather travel maybe 100 meters or 150 meters across the road to the other food center, Maxwell Food Center, and have their chicken rice, Hainanese chicken rice over there. And further down the road from the shop that sells Hainanese chicken rice, which is at the queue, which I don't understand why. But next there, further down, there's another place which also has a queue some of the times, especially during lunchtime. Is this place here that sells traditional Chinese breakfast. And here's the place. It's called Jiaji Meishi. And here, like I tell you, they sell traditional Chinese breakfast. That some of these items here are getting harder and harder to find for breakfast. So you have dumplings, you have porridge, you have yam cake, you have chi chong fan, which is rice rolls with a sauce. Then you also have economic noodles. So one thing here, this place here, I actually quite like, and the queue actually clears very fast, so you don't have to worry. Like this plate here, which I got chi chong fan and yam cake, which is underneath, only cost me $2. So you get cheap food, the queue clears very fast, and what else do you want? And you can eat traditional Chinese breakfast any time of the day. It's a win-win for me. So if you do come here, you might want to get in the queue, because this place here, even the food is not the best, but you still get a good breakfast. And very nearby to this stall, this breakfast stall, traditional breakfast stall, is a very famous stall at this food center. And you can see there's actually a queue already forming for this place, which is a very famous place here. They even got 1 Michelin star. And the name of this place is called Hawker Chan. And here you can see I'm in the queue now, waiting to actually eat the food. And this stall, the queue actually starts at 10:30 a.m. in the morning until it sells out. And here, like I said, the queue here is super long. One time I did come here at 10:30 a.m. I waited around 40 to 50 minutes before I placed my order for my food. Yes, and I've heard sometimes the queue can go as long as 1 to 2 hours. But this is what we come here for. These are all the items they sell, and they are famous for their soy sauce chicken, which you can see glistening in the display over there, and also roast meats. But their soy sauce chicken, that's what they're famous for. That's what gave them their 1 Michelin star, and also the cheap price. So is it worth the queue? That's why you're asking me. That's why you came to this video. Well, if it's the first time you're eating it and you want to try something nice, good, delicious, and you're willing to wait, then sure, join the queue. You may want to come a bit early to avoid waiting too long, because you know what happens here? A lot of people that comes here, they order big orders, to take away. So that's why sometimes you have to wait quite a long time. And if it's not your first time here, you've eaten it before, then what I suggest for you to do is, because this place here, they actually have branches all around the island, and just right next to this food center, there's actually one branch of this place here where you can actually eat the food. Only difference is the flavors may not be as intense as when you get here, but it's still very, very good. And the price wise, because you're eating in an aircon restaurant, it's maybe around 30 to 40% more expensive, but still the food is still good. So here, if you want to come here, come early if you're willing to queue up, and then this is a place that is worth the queue. But waiting 2 hours for the food is a bit extreme. Then if the queue is just too long, just go to their branch. And just nearby is our next store called 中国拉面小笼包. And here, what they sell is Chinese food from China, which is 拉面, which is pulled noodles, and 小笼包or dumplings, fried or steamed. So here, there is a queue during lunchtime. Even though the queue doesn't look long, medium length, but it takes time to clear the queue because all the items you order are done or made, already pre-made, but they have to cook it. And each of the items they cook takes time. So for them to clear the queue, it takes a while. So even though the queue doesn't look long, but you may need to wait quite a while before you get your food. So maybe like half an hour to 45 minutes, before you reach the front of the line to place your order. And here, the food here, I must say, they do cook dumplings well. The 小笼包 is good, their fried dumplings is good. But is it worth the queue? This place here is very popular. So if you can come here and there's no queue, then it's worth to order. But if there's a queue, it may not be worth the long wait to try the food. But overall, the food is good. The food is tasty. Just that it may not be worth to wait too long for the food. Because there are other places that cook these same dishes better at other food centers. And if you move around this food center, you will also find that there are also places here that serve lunch crowd. So what they do is they sell rice dishes or items where you can eat together with rice. So they cook multiple dishes, then you go there, you can order what you want to eat together with your rice, like mixed rice dish, so these are very popular food stalls. And one of the popular food stalls here is actually just on my left here, and the name, which I really like the name of the store, which is called Dragon Village Hainanese Curry Rice. Yes, so what they do here, they sell rice, eat together with either meat or vegetables or tofu that they cook there, and then they charge you according to the items you choose and how many items you choose. And here, during lunchtime, there's a queue, and you can see the nice, bright, beautiful colors of greens, yellow, orange, reds, meat colors. Ooh, delicious. It looks very appetizing, and the food here is also very good. And what's good here is the curry. The curry here, that they make this Hainanese curry rice, which is the feature of the dish here. So normally what people will do is they will order something like maybe a pork chop or a meat item, then curry will be put on top, and then whatever vegetables, tofu, or variety of items that you want to eat together with your rice, and they'll charge you accordingly. Here, there is a queue, but one thing good about this type of stores is the queue clears very fast. So even though there's a queue, just join the queue, and you'll be at the front of the queue very fast. And then while you are waiting the queue, you can look and see which item you want to order and decide, debating internally, you want to eat chicken, pork, vegetables, more vegetables, tofu, and then so this is a good place to come to try for lunch, and it's delicious. And the queue also clears fast, so it's a win-win. No need to argue, just come and eat. And so this brings us to the end of our first episode number 1 of Is It Worth the Queue? Our pioneer episode, our flagship, the first episode, the episode that started it all. And in episode 2, coming up next week, we'll be exploring more queues at this same food center, Chinatown Complex Food Center, and I will show you more places with long queues and whether it's worth it. If you want to know more, stay tuned for that next week. And before we go, please do me a favor. Please help me by liking this video, sharing my video, and also subscribing to my channel. And if you have some spare cash, maybe you will decide to maybe support me on Patreon. Every little bit counts, because you must remember, I'm not getting paid to do this. Anyway, What else are we supposed to do here? Nothing left to do but say goodbye and see you next time for our food adventure or our queuing adventure, whichever comes first.